Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the Overflow room, and we're working our way through a big bin of Stravinsky. Here's the latest batch that we're going to be covering. There's so many good Stravinsky recordings. One thing about Stravinsky, he said that music expresses nothing and all of that stuff. I mean, aesthetics apart, the fact of the matter is because his music is never emotionally all that deep, it's not going for depth of expression, and because it's so based on rhythm, a certain mechanical rhythm going through it all, he was right to the extent that you can do it awfully well if you basically just play it as written and don't futz with it that much. I bet you thought I wasn't going to say futz. Anyway, but you know what I mean, either way. And so there are just tons of wonderful Stravinsky records. I mean, tons and tons of them. It's really kind of unbelievable. And here are a batch. Stravinsky, Rite of Spring. Oh, very exciting. And Symphony in Three Movements with Salonen. Now, all of his Stravinsky was boxed up in a ripe for reissue box on Sony. Salonen conducts Stravinsky. There it was. So there you go. Then we've got... always fall over, don't they? You saw that, I bet. Let's see. The Rite of Spring, Requiem Canticles and Canticum Sacrum, late Stravinsky stuff, with Nimi Yarvi and the Suisse Romande. This was also boxed up and stuck in a box somewhere, which I have upstairs in the normative Stravinsky collection. So those are fun to have. Then we've got, Pierre Monteux, Rite of Spring and Petrushka. The jewel here is Petrushka, the 1959 Boston stereo recording, which is absolutely gorgeous. Fabulous. And the Rite of Spring is from 51, and it's his best recording of that by a long shot. But the sound is somewhat limited, and the orchestra was, not modern quite yet, but it's okay. Then we've got Monteux's other ones, the Petrushka and Rite of Spring with the Paris Conservatory Orchestra from 56 and 57. Oh, they're bad. Oh, the orchestra can't play it. Oh, Monteux was not happy. No. And the sound is mediocre. It's old, early stereo from Decca, and nobody needs them, but I have them for sentimental reasons. And they're in the big Monteux box, of course. Zinman and Baltimore doing Petrushka, the Firebird Suite, and Fireworks on Telarc. Fabulous. No more need be said. Brilliant sounding. Oh, this one. Scholte's late Stravinsky stuff, Petrushka and Jeu de Cartes with Chicago. Boy, these weren't very good. It's not that there's anything terribly wrong. It's just that there's nothing compellingly right about them either. They're so blah. They really are. I mean, I don't know. Okay. A.G. Owe with the Minnesota Orchestra, the Firebird Suite, Song of the Nightingale, the Rite of Spring. These are exciting. It's with Minnesota, who famously did some of this stuff with Skrovichevsky. We'll be talking about him at some point. And this is on reference recordings. The sound is wonderful. They're good, solid performances. I mean, the Rite of Spring could be a little peppier here and there, but it's all right. The Soldier's Tale and Dumbarton Oaks with the Northern Chamber Orchestra, Nicholas Ward with David Thompson, Benjamin Soames, and Jonathan Keeble in the Soldier's Tale. And Nicholas Ward is the violinist in this thing, too, which is rather cool. So those are like chamber thingies. And then, Carl and Cheryl, Alexander Nevsky and the Rite of Spring. Fantastic performances. The Rite of Spring is wonderful. The best thing about the Anshel Rite is that the Czech Philharmonic really captures the folk element in the music. Somehow their timbre, the sound of the woodwinds particularly, you hear those earthy folk melodies so beautifully, but there's no stinting on like rhythm or excitement or anything else. You don't sacrifice any of the savagery or anything. That's just great stuff. Anshel was amazing in Stravinsky. Really, all of his Stravinsky is just fabulous. Okay, what else have we got? Stravinsky Symphony in E flat and the Firebird Suite with Pletnev and the Russian National Orchestra. Glacial performances of Scherzo alla Russe, as Pletnev usually did when he conducted, and the canon on a Russian popular tune. I got this because it had the early symphony, and there weren't so many recordings of it, so I figured having a singleton version outside of a big box of stuff, what the hell? And that's how I still feel about it. Then we've got the Ebedi Concerto, Milhaud's La Création du Monde, and Stravinsky's L'Histoire du Soldat, the London Symphony Orchestra Chamber Group, John Carew conducting, and the Ebedi Concerto with Woody Herman and his orchestra, a real big band version. It was dedicated to Woody Herman. So that's on Everest. And that's why you absolutely have to have that. Then we've got another Nimi Yarvi, this time with the Concertgebouw, Jeu de Cartes, and Orpheus. These are gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. The playing is outstanding. The sonics are just terrific. Really, really, really fine. And then this wonderful Oliver Knussen thing, the Flood, Abraham and Isaac, the Variations, Aldous Huxley in Memoriam, the Requiem Canticles, all of this stuff is like, these are wonderful performances by a modern music specialist of late Stravinsky and stuff that you don't hear, outside of the complete box. And then Charles Woronin, a reliquary for Igor Stravinsky. It sounds like Woronin, unfortunately. It's very nasty. Yeah. Let's see what else we got here. Okay. Stravinsky in America with Michael Tilson Thomas and the London Symphony. We should be getting a big Michael Tilson Thomas box on RCA. And as you know, he has a very, very serious cancer right now. And he's racing against the clock. And it would be so nice if RCA did and Sony, both of them, did something, as not as a commemoration, as to honor him while he's still with us by releasing his recordings for that label, because he's not recording for them anymore, and there's no reason for them to keep it in the can. There's some amazing stuff in there. Like this, Stravinsky in America, the Star-Spangled Banner, harmonized and orchestrated by Stravinsky, Circus Polka, the Ode, Scherzo alla Russe, Scène de Ballet, Concertino for 12 instruments, Agon, the Greeting Prelude, the Canon on a popular Russian tune, and the Variations, Aldous Huxley in Memoriam with the London Symphony, and it's just first class. Concertos with Stravinsky. This is from the Stravinsky Conducts Stravinsky edition. It's the concertos. The Concerto for Piano and Wind Instruments with Philippe Enchlamont, the Mouvement for Piano and Orchestra, Movements for Piano and Orchestra, with Charles Rosen, the Capriccio for Piano and Orchestra with Philippe Enchlamont, and the Violin Concerto with Isaac Stern, both the Columbia Symphony Orchestra, and either conducted by Stravinsky or recorded under the supervision of the composer by Robert Kraft. Symphony number 1, Symphony in C, Symphony in 3 movements, Symphonies of Wind Instruments, The Fairy's Kiss, the Ode, the Alexander Gibson stuff, and in the Symphonies of Wind Instruments, the Nash Ensemble, conducted by Simon Rattle before he was a Sir, although they put the Sir in here, but he wasn't then. These are also very good performances, and it was a nice addition to the Gibson discography, I think. Well, that's it. That's it for this batch of Stravinsky. More to come. Keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.